Ever wonder how a business really works? You know, how it communicates its health, its performance? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on financial accounting. And I'll show you how it's not just about crunching numbers, it's really about telling the complete financial story of a business. Okay, so let's jump right in with the most important idea you need to grasp. Just for a second, forget about complicated math. I want you to think of accounting as a language. Yep, a language. It's the universal way that any company, big or small, communicates what it's doing, how it's doing, and where it's going. And look, this language isn't just for giant, faceless corporations, not at all. It tells a super compelling story about every single organization out there. Think about that little stationery shop on your corner. It's using this exact same language to tell its own story, a story about its daily sales, its monthly rent, and, the big one, whether it actually made a profit last year. Now, every good story needs a building block, right? A main character, even. Well, in the world of accounting, our hero is the business transaction. Anytime money changes hands, like a customer buying a pen or the shop paying its electricity bill, boom, that's a transaction. It's the very beginning of every single plot point in the financial story. So what happens to that transaction? This is what's so cool. It goes on a whole journey. It starts as just a simple event, right? Then it gets written down as a journal entry, organized into what's called a ledger, double-checked to make sure everything balances out, and then finally, it becomes a key part of the official financial statements. Every single step is absolutely crucial to telling an accurate story. Okay, so people get these two mixed up all the time, but the difference is actually pretty simple. Bookkeeping, that's just one piece of the puzzle. It's the act of recording all those transactions we just talked about. But accounting, that's the whole shebang. It's the recording plus the analysis plus the interpretation. Think of it like this. Bookkeeping writes down the sentences. Accounting is what tells the whole story. So once our little transaction finishes its journey, it gets to join thousands, maybe even millions of other transactions. And the ultimate goal? It's to weave all of these individual events together to create one clear, accurate, and totally reliable financial story about the entire business. And this is what it all builds up to, the final output. You could honestly think of these financial statements as the main chapters in a company's yearly storybook. The profit or loss statement, that tells you if the plot had a happy ending. The balance sheet gives you a snapshot of all the characters, what the company owns, its assets, versus what it owes, its liabilities. And the cash flow statement, that just follows the cash as it moves in and out. It's fascinating. But a story is pretty useless without an audience, isn't it? So let's take a minute to look at who is actually reading all this detailed financial info, because it turns out there are two totally different groups of readers. So first up, you've got the internal readers. These are the folks inside the business. The owners obviously want to know if their investment is actually making them any money. And the management team, they're using this story to make huge decisions about the future. Stuff like, should we launch a new product? Should we hire more people? They're basically reading the story to help them write the next chapter. And then you have the external audience. This is pretty much everyone on the outside who has some kind of stake in the company's story. Banks are reading it to decide if the business is a safe bet for a loan. Investors are reading it to see if it's a smart place to put their money. Even the government reads it to make sure the company's paying the right amount of taxes. Okay, so you have all these different people, inside and out, all relying on this same information. And that brings us to the most important part of all this, why this financial story is so incredibly powerful. It's not just a dusty old record of what happened. It's a living tool that actively shapes the future. I mean, just at a glance, the story gives you this crystal clear snapshot. In just a few pages, anyone can get answers to the big, fundamental questions. Did the company make money or lose it this year? What does it own versus what does it owe? And maybe most importantly, does it have enough cash on hand to keep the lights on? And here's the bottom line. This information is what drives major, real-world decisions. A good financial story can help a business get the loan it needs to expand. It can attract investors who bring in the cash to innovate. And it makes sure the company stays on the right side of the law. This story doesn't just describe reality, it actually helps create it. So, to wrap this all up, I want you to take this one idea with you. This language of accounting, it's being spoken all around you, every single day. Just think about your own workplace. That coffee someone bought, that big sale your team made, even the paychecks going out. Every single one of those is a word and a sentence, building a chapter and a financial story that now you can start to understand.